Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. Devotees, we're waiting for the speaker to join, so maybe some more time. We'll have to wait. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for the delay. I'm trying to reach out to the speaker. Give me some more time.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vandeham Shri Guru पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं चाप्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् साधन ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. So, welcome all. Sorry for the delay. So we have this Rama Prabhu. We'll be sharing the nectar today, and we are speaking on Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 30. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So I thought it is text 35. So
35,
which one
35.
I will...
Sorry, Prabhuji. 5, 1, 35. My bad, my bad. Sorry.
Yes. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari जय विष्णुपाद परम परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सच्ची श्रीमद् वचनांत वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परम परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सच्ची श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय द्वारका धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय संवेद भक्तवृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. Shloka number is 35. Naivam vidap purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jitashangunanam chitram vidura vigatas sukurdadadita yannamadheya madhuna sajahi jahati bandham naivam vidap purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jitashangunanam chitram vidura vigatas sukurdadadita yannamadheya madhuna sajahati vandham naivam purushakar urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jitashangunanam chitram vidura vigata sukrdadadita yannamadheya madhuna sajahati bandhum. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Word-to-word translation. Na, not evam vidha, like that. Purushakara, personal influence. Guru Kramasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pumsam, of the devotees. Tad Angri, of his lotus feet. Rajasa, by the dust. Jitashad Gunanam, who has conquered the influence of the six kinds of material waves. Chitram, wonderful. Vidura Vigata, the fifth grade person or the untouchable. Sakrit, only once. Adadita, if he utters. Yat, whose. Namadeyam, holy name. Aduna, immediately. Sa, he. Jahati, gives up. Bandham, bond, material bondage. Translation. My dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the six material waves, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death, and he can conquer the mind and five senses. However, this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord, because even a person beyond the jurisdictions of the four castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved of bondage to material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Purport. Shukdev Goswami was speaking to Maharaj Parikshit about the activities of King Priyavrata, and since the king might have had doubts about these wonderful, uncommon activities, Shukdev Goswami reassured him. My dear king, he said, don't be doubtful about the wonderful activities of Priyavrata. For a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is possible because the Lord is also known as Urukrama. Urukrama is the name for Lord Vamandeva, who performed the wonderful act of occupying the three worlds with three footsteps. Lord Vamandeva requested three pieces of land from Maharaj Bali, and when Maharaj Bali agreed to grant them, the Lord immediately covered the entire world with two footsteps. And for his third step, he had placed his foot on Bali Maharaj's head. Sri Jayadeva Goswami says, Chalayasi Vikramane Balimadbhuta Vamana Padanaka Neera Janita Jana Pavana Keshava Drita Vamana Rupa Jay Jagadisha Hare. All glories to Lord Keshava, who assumed the form of a dwarf. O Lord of the universe, who take away everything inauspicious from the devotees. O wonderful Vamana Deva, you tricked the great demon Bali Maharaj by your steps. The water that touched the nails of your lotus feet when you pierced through the covering of the universe purifies all living entities in the form of the Ganges. Since the Supreme Lord is all powerful, he can do things that seem wonderful for a common man. Similarly, a devotee who has taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord can also do wonderful things unimaginable to a common man by the grace of the dust of the lotus of those lotus feet. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore teaches us to take shelter of Lord's lotus feet. Ainanda Tanja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Bhishme Bhavam Budo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sita Dhuli Sadrisham Vichantaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila 20.32 Shikshashtaka 5. O son of Nama, Nanda Maharaj, I am your eternal servant, yet somehow or the other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. Lord Chaitanya teaches us to come in touch with the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, for there will undoubtedly be success. Because of the material world, every living entity in the material existence is always disturbed by Shadguna, six waves. hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, invalidity, and death. Furthermore, another Shat Guna are the mind and the five senses. Not to speak of a sanctified devotee, even a Chandala, an outcast, who is untouchable, is immediately freed from material bondage if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Sometimes caste Brahmanas argue that unless one changes his body, he cannot be accepted as a Brahmana. For since the present body is obtained as a result of past actions, one who has in the past acted as a Brahmana takes birth in a Brahmana family. Therefore, they contend without such a Brahminical body, one cannot be accepted as a Brahmana. Herein it is said, however, that even a Vidura Vigata, a Chandala, a fifth class untouchable, is freed if he utters the holy name even once. Being freed means that he immediately changes his body. Sanatana Goswami confirmed this. Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasa vidhanatah tatha diksha vidhanena dvijattam jayate nranam. Hari Bhakti Vilas 2.5. When a person, even though a Chandala, is initiated by a pure devotee into chanting the holy name of the Lord, his body changes as he follows the instructions of the spiritual master. Although one cannot see how his body has changed, we must accept on the grounds of the authoritative statements of the Shastras that he changes his body. This is to be understood without arguments. This verse clearly states, Sajahati Bandham, he gives up his material bondage. The body is a symbolic representation of material bondage according to one's karma. Although sometimes we cannot see the gross body changing, chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord immediately changes the subtle body. And because the subtle body changes, the living entity is immediately free from material bondage. After all changes of the gross body are conducted by the subtle body. After the destruction of the gross body, the subtle body takes the living entity from his present gross body to another. In the subtle body, the mind is predominant, and therefore, if one's mind is always absorbed in remembering the activities of the lotus feet of the Lord, he is to be understood to have already changed his present body and become purified. Therefore, it is irrefutable that a Chandala or any fallen or low-born person can become a Brahmana simply by the method of bona fide initiation. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा. So we are continuing to discuss about the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. Any issues with sound, please let me know. I hope everyone is able to hear me.
Sure, Prabhuji.
So Maharaj, we saw how Maharaj Priyavrata became the king by instructions of Lord Brahma. And after taking the instructions of Lord Brahma seriously, he took up the role of a king, and now he was completely into it. He performed extraordinary activities which some common man can't even contemplate. He had a huge chariot which he rode everywhere and divided the whole land into 7 islands. And each island he divided further into small parts like Bharatavarsha and all. Then he got children, sons and daughters, and he got them married. When he was not satisfied with the shining of the sun in the southern hemisphere, so he created another similar sun which shines and gives light even in the southern hemisphere. So such extraordinary activities, such powerful person, you can imagine, such extraordinary activities he did. And now there is going to be a turning point in his life. So children are married, sons are married, daughters are married. What next? So next is turning point, retirement. So that is where this shloka is. This shloka is at the turning point. The time of retirement has come. So in the present day, the system is that till 60 people don't retire, and even after 60 also still they are thinking, shall I do something else, some part-time business, some LIC agent or something like that. Somehow I have to expand further. But Parikshit Maharaj was similarly concerned that mm, what will happen now, because first of all he had renounced everything, he had this appetite of renunciation, but now once he has got into it, now will he be completely stuck in family life? What will be his future? So Parikshit Maharaj was concerned from the Nivritti Marga point of view that oh, will Priyavrat Maharaj be able to come out of this bondage? So that is when uh, he's Shukdev Goswami is assuring that no, that will not happen with him. He is an extraordinary person. Can you imagine such extraordinary feats he has accomplished? Now there is something more extraordinary that he's going to accomplish. That is, he is going to cut the bondage of all these things. So this is very difficult. To You may be in a job, you may be doing your work, you may be doing things to earn money and all. You may do big buildings and big houses, construction and all those things. Now, to yeah, that indeed takes a lot of energy. But then, okay, now this is not mine. I'm going to just leave this and go. That is much more difficult. We find so many people who are doing this first activity, first hard work and first achievement, big businesses, big things. But the second achievement of cutting the bondage from all this and leaving it, saying this is not mine, that is very tough. So in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is mentioned about Dhritarashtra. So all the Kauravas were lost in the war, all of them were died. Then Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj became the king. He would pay respects to him as a father every day, offer Dandavat Pranam. But from Dhritarashtra's point of view, he was not able to cut that bondage, that attachment from family life. Pancha Shodasha Vanam Brajet, it is said in Shastras that at the age of 50, you have to retire from family life and go to the forest. Or you have to become Vanaprastha. You have to focus your life more seriously on bhakti. But then that was somehow not happening with Dhritarashtra. So Vidura had to actually come and speak quite heavy words. He had to speak quite bitter language and take him out of that family attachment. So Prabhupada mentions that there was one Dhritarashtra at that time. Today there is everywhere Dhritarashtra's only, who are not able to cut this bondage of family attachment or the bondage of desire for earning and being free. That Brahmana nature, we'll discuss further about Brahmanas. So except for Shudras, everyone else has confidence in life that I can sustain in any situation. The Brahmana has confidence that I will perform I will perform services for the society, and whatever they give donation, I can survive on that. Krishna will maintain me. The Kshatriya has confidence in life that I can rule the world, and because I am ruling the world, people will definitely give me taxes, and in this way I can sustain myself. The Vaishya, he also has unlimited confidence. Wherever I go with anything and everything, I can make business, and that way I can survive. Whereas the Shudra is a person who doesn't have confidence in life because he doesn't know how to survive. He has to depend on others, and unless others are giving him a paycheck, unless others are giving him a salary, he cannot survive in life. So the present system, education system, is making people like that. They are not having any skills, due to which they don't have confidence in life that I can sustain. So, but Priyavrat Maharaj was not like that. Priyavrat Maharaj was an extraordinary king, and he definitely had the strength of cutting all this bondage and coming out of this. So, it is not so wonderful. Now, okay, Priyavrat Maharaj is a strong personality. He was able to do all these things. Now, what about others? What is the hope for others? That is a question that comes in mind. Priyavrata Maharaj was an extraordinary personality. He did extraordinary tasks in his Grahastha Ashrama, and he did the extraordinary task of detaching from Grahastha Ashrama also. We are small devotees, Prabhu. How much we can do? No. Shukdev, that is why Shukdev Goswami has mentioned this verse, that what to speak of devotees, what to speak of the pure souls. Even a Chandala, low-born family person, If he chants the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he will have enough strength to cut this bondage of family attachment and material attachment and perform extraordinary tasks in the service of the Lord. So, the name of the Lord is so powerful that it can happen to everyone. Anyone can do it. Chanting of Hare Krishna can easily free the bondage of anyone, not just extraordinary persons like Maharaj Priyavrata. So now this is something which is difficult to believe for the society, especially for Karma Kanda and all. They say we perform yajnas, we perform pujas, we perform upvasas, we perform vratas, we perform so many things. So how can you say that chanting of holy name is enough? How can we say that initiation from a guru is enough? This is exactly the question which Gopal Chapal had asked Haridas Thakur. So in Shastras, there is mentioned that chanting of Harinama will free a person from all these things. So Gopal Chapal's objection to Haridas Thakur was Haridas Thakur has not studied the Shastras properly. He doesn't know the rules of interpretation by Mimamsa and Nyaya. Using Mimamsa and Nyaya, if you interpret, you understand that there are many exaggerations in the Shastras. So just to promote living entities, just to encourage living entities, they give some exaggerations that, oh, you go to Swargaloka, there is so much enjoyment and all these things. So like that, you have to understand with the proper rules of interpretation using Nyaya and Mimamsa, these statements. Whereas Haridas Thakur's argument was, even if you follow the rules of Nyaya and Mimamsa for the holy name, these are underrating. Now, suppose you say that the poetic language, somebody is okay, somewhat good looking. Now you may say he looks like the moon, he looks like a golden flower, and also some we exaggerate, right, in poetry. So similarly, the rules and the phalas, the benefits, material benefits are all exaggerated. In the Shastras, you will get suppose 10,000 Ashwamedha Yajnas and all those things. Okay. Whereas when it comes to devotional service, the phala of devotional service, that chanting of Hare Krishna will free you from so many sins, mountains of sins and all, it is not an exaggeration. In fact, it is underrating. So suppose you have gold in you are given 1 gram of gold, and oh, the poor person who beggar, he will feel that this is something worth 500 rupees. He will not know that this is worth thousands of rupees. So he is underrating the value. Similarly, chanting a holy name will free you from this sins. It is actually underrating. It can do much, much more than that. So Haridas Thakur is saying this is nothing. It can chanting of the holy name can do much more than erasing your mountains of sins. It can do much more than thousands of Ashwamedha yajnas. You can't compare one chanting of Hare Krishna with these things. But whereas Gopal Chapal was not in a condition to understand that. So that is where this challenge was there between both of them. Of course, later on, Haridas Thakur proved to be right. So the argument of the Smarta Brahmanas is that past karmas cause birth. Because of our past karmas, we are born in a particular family. That is true. There is no doubt in that. So, whereas they argue that it is these past karmas that have caused a particular birth, so that birth alone should be accepted as final in deciding the varnas of people. So, whether a person is a Brahmana, whether a person is a Shudra, the birth alone has to be decided. Whereas in the Bhagavad Gita, it is told, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So the 4 Varnas are decided primarily based on the gunas and the karmas, that is, the nature that a person has acquired and the actions, activities the person is involved in. Based on that, it is decided whether you are a Brahmana or whether you are a Shudra. It is not a primary criteria by birth. So, this is one very important point which people fail to understand. They consider it as birth based, like Shukracharya. Shukracharya was considering himself as a Brahmana because of his birth. And by qualification, he did not demonstrate the highest level of Brahmanism, because to Bali Maharaj, when Bali Maharaj was donating everything to Vamana, he was not detached. He said, no, no, don't give, then you will not have anything for maintenance. So that is the thing. So this is an important point. We should understand that this Brahmanatva or the Varna is primarily based on the nature, the gunas and karmas. Of course, one thing is there that birth cannot be completely neglected. Uh, Means that if you see, uh, every person has acquired certain nature that he gets from his genetics, from his parents' nature, from his grandparents' nature, through generations. There are some strengths and there are some weaknesses. So, how to understand this point that we cannot completely, can we completely give up those strengths and weaknesses immediately? So, how to understand? So, Prabhupada gives this example of a high court judge. So, what happened is the lawyer, advocate, or the judge. Now, his son, it is not that just because he is his son, he can be considered an advocate. He is called the advocate's son, that's all. He cannot be called as an advocate. What to do if we want to make him an advocate? He has to go to school, he has to go to college, he has to take admission in the law college. Then he has to pass, he has to study, he has to pass the exam, and then he will be able to do. Now, this he has to undergo this procedure, otherwise, he cannot become an advocate. Now, somebody who is a beggar's son, or who is a illiterate person's son, he also has the same opportunity. He also can pass through the same school, the same college, and he eventually become a lawyer. So that way, both have opportunity to become a lawyer. However, the lawyer's son has one advantage that if he gets any doubts in writing the exam, if he gets any doubts in his studies, he can ask his father. That luxury this illiterate son doesn't. So similarly, the everyone has an opportunity to get purified and take up to Brahmanatva. Whereas those, of course, those who are having good birth, Krishna also appreciates that in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogo Prashto Pijayate Athava Yoginam Eva Kule Bhavati Devatam Etati Durlabhaktaram Loke Janma Yadi Drisham. So Krishna, when Arjuna asked, oh, what will happen, Krishna, for the yogis who fail in life? So one who yogi who fails in his life, what is his future? So then Krishna says they will be born in big families. So in that Krishna divides two. One who practices devotional service for some time and leave it. So for them the destination is they go to Swargaloka and they enjoy a lot of material benefits. And once they come back here, they will be born in rich families. So materially they are not in anxiety. All they have to think of is devotional service. Then there is second category who practice bhakti for a long time. So after practicing bhakti for a long time, somehow they slip off in the last moment. Now such people, they don't go to Swargaloka. They are born in very good pious families, very good Brahmana families, and because of being born in such a high birth, right from birth, they get opportunity to practice bhakti. So, of course, we cannot say, means Prabhupada said that both we and our spiritual master got this opportunity to take birth in such families. So definitely the birth in such families cannot be neglected. It's definitely because of past activities that people are born in such families. However, by association with a Vaishnava guru, the same perfection can also be achieved. That a person who is low born can be elevated. So here Sanatan Goswami gives a very nice quote in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasa vidhanata tatha diksha vidhanena dvijaktam jayate nranam. So this kansa, bell metal, so kanchu it's called in Kannada. So this bell metal, it is there is a technique by which the bell metal can be converted into gold. So nowadays nobody knows about this technique, but once upon a time people knew about it. So this kanchu, the bell metal, there were some procedures done on that by which it would eventually convert into gold. So now Shastras give this example that because person who knows the right procedure can convert this. Similarly, the person who knows the right procedure can give Dvijatvam to a Radam who is low class. The person who is born in a low class family, he can be given Brahmanical status by a bona fide Vaishnava guru. And there are many examples in Shastras where this has happened. For example, Brugari, Valmiki, because of association of Narad Muni, these souls became perfect. Mrugari became so perfect. He was so violent in killing animals. Very violently, he was killing animals and giving them a lot of pain. But later on, he transformed so much, he was not even willing to give pain to ants. So, such a huge transformation because of association with a Vaishnava. So, this Vijatvam can be granted in association of a Guru. Now, caste brahmanas will not agree with this. So, according to them, the birth has to be considered primary. However, we can't agree with the caste brahmanas either because there are so many who are born in brahmana families, but then who quit a brahminical profession. They take up to service outside. They serve the blechas and chandalas. Nowadays, we find so many of these intellectual brahmanas who are working in IT companies, and they have gone to USA, and in USA they are serving big companies for a paycheck, for a salary. So they have given up all their puja, their samskaras, and their profession of Brahmanism, and now they are just serving low class people. Vipale sevinu kripana durjana chapala sukala balagiri. For some flickering happiness, they are doing. But just because of birth, they consider themselves as superior. Now, they are called Dvija Bandhus, that is relative of Brahmanas. They cannot be called as Brahmanas. Just like son of a High Court judge is called a son of a High Court judge. He cannot be called a High Court judge or an advocate. So similarly, son of a Brahmana can be called a son of a Brahmana. He cannot be called a Brahmana. So that is the point that is told in the even in the first canto of Bhagavatam. It is described that Dronacharya's son Ashwathama, he was called as Brahma Bandhu. He was not called a Brahmana because his activities were not at all like Brahmana. He at the end, when the children were sleeping, he went and killed them, and then the child which is in the womb of a woman, he shot arrow to kill that child. So his activities were not at all like a Brahman. So he was called just a son of a Brahmana. He was debarred from the status of a Brahmana. So similarly, Janmana Jayate Shudra Samskarat Bhaved Dvija. Ved Vakya Patet Vipra Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. This is what is said in Mahabharata. That by birth everyone is a Shudra. Samskarat Bhaved Dvija. Person becomes Dvija twice born because of his samskaras. He acquires various samskaras. There are 16 samskaras altogether that are described by Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. Actually, there are more, but then for sane human society, 16 are enough. So the 16 begin with Garbhadana, the process of making pregnancy. That is Garbhadana. That is the first samskara. And afterwards, there is Pumsavana, there is Srimantam, then there is Chatakarma at birth. And after that, then there is Namakarana Samskara, Chodakarana. There are so many samskaras. 16 samskaras, all are meant for purification to eventually create good Brahmanas in human society. So, this process of creating samskaras has been missing in human society. Even among big Brahmana families, yeah, there are some rituals there. They do Upanayana. For example, one of my relatives, so they did many years ago, they did Upanayana of his child. They stay in America. So they came here just for the Upanayan samskara. And the grandfather, because of attachment to samskaras and family tradition, he spent a few lakh rupees for the Upanayan samskara. And at the end, on the same day night, the boy said that I cannot go in front of my friends with this thread. And immediately he took off his thread and kept it. Till now, he doesn't wear that thread. So now, what is the use of such samskaras for show off? At the same time, if samskaras are not given, there is another thought process that no, we just by chanting Hare Krishna, we will become pure, Paramhamsas. See, the very process of samskaras is to hand over this purity to generations, one after the then there are various generations, because there is no guarantee that generations together people will stay as devotees. Okay, we have taken up to Krishna Bhakti, somehow Krishna Guru's mercy, we are somehow catching on this line tightly. Is there any guarantee that our children, grandchildren, hundreds of generations will be similarly inclined towards pure devotional service and chanting the holy name of the Lord? There is no guarantee, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhe, yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. Among thousands of people, hardly one will be interested in bhakti. Yeah, sorry, in purification of his life. Among those thousands who are interested in purifying, who want to go to temple and worship the Lord and all, hardly one take up to pure devotional service. So this pure devotional service is very rare in the nectar of devotion. Uh, one of the qualities of pure devotional service described by Rupa Goswami is that it is very rare. It is not for everyone. So how can the society be saved? For that, the Brahmana Samskriti is required. The culture of Brahmanas is required. So nowadays, because Brahmanas are neglecting the samskaras, their future generations are just remaining as Brahma Bandhus. Now, once a person becomes Dvija by association of Vaishnava Guru, we have discussed that by association and initiation from Vaishnava Guru, a person becomes Dvija. He gets the Dvijatvam. That is, he becomes a Brahmana. Now, uh, it is the responsibility of the person, the devotee who has taken initiation, to maintain this over generations. So for that, the right samskaras have to be introduced in the next generation. So the devotee should be very serious about the Garbhadana samskara, then the other Shodesha samskaras that are there. They have to be performed with the right process so that purity is maintained over generations and the seed gets more pure. See, those who are born as Brahmanas, there is some potency in the parampara that has come. Nowadays, people are leaving it. Whereas if they try, they can, if they endeavor a little bit, they can catch up. I mean, uh, you might see a difference with all this things that we discussed. If a person who is born in a Brahmana family, if he wants to quit onion, garlic, or non-veg, he might face less resistance than a person. If, for example, in Western countries and all, it was a big turmoil when devotees said wanted to say give up eating meat and all. Their parents were very disturbed. Intoxication, meat eating. They even organized kidnapping of the disciples and brainwashing. They made cases that they are brainwashing them to do all these things because their birth was such that these things they did not understand. Whereas it might be easy for a person who is born in the right culture to understand these things. So that culture is required. So if we want to preserve our society for generations, now for 10,000 years, we are dreaming that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement has to stay strong. For the movement to stay strong in for 10,000 years, there is a very important thing that this has to be transferred over generations. Our children have to pick up this strong culture. Our grandchildren have to pick up. So this has to go ahead in parampara. So because if this has to go ahead in parampara, then you see even here in Shastras, why there is a big list of kings. Sometimes it becomes boring, you see, while studying Bhagavatam. Oh, this king, then his son, this king, his son, this king. There is a big list of kings. So one may wonder what is the need of so many names. In fourth canto, you might have studied Uttanapada, his whole generation, so many kings' names are there. Now, in fifth canto, very soon you will see Maharaj Priyavrata, his dynasty is there. Gradually, as we go in eighth canto, in ninth canto, Raghuvamsha, Surya Vamsha dynasty is there. Then the 10th canto, Yadu Vamsha is there. So many names, names, names. Why so many names? But what we should understand is that there is a need, there is a purpose why Shukadeva Goswami has given this. He wants to send a message that these people have maintained, over generations, they have maintained samskaras. Over generations, they have maintained this culture of Brahmanatva and Kshatriyatva, and this purity they have maintained. That's what Krishna says, right? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, these Rajarshis have maintained over generations. Now, today we are in a situation where we have to keep the movement intact for next thousands of years. So we can learn from them how they have maintained it over generations. So similarly, if we are established in the right culture, the Brahminical culture, by introducing deity worship, by introducing Brahmana occupations for our devotees, then this can be for generations. For example, if you go to caste Brahmana, they call it Annika. Annika means morning program. Their morning program is fixed. They have to wake up, take bath, go to the DT room, perform Shaligram Puja, Abhishekam, and then by the time the wife will be ready with the cooking, which is done in full purity, offering, and then again the afternoon Sandhya Vandana, the whole thing will morning to afternoon, and evening they are absorbed in Krishna Katha. So the whole program is fixed. And in between, if they go somewhere, some priestly duties and all, there also it's Narayanam Samarpayami, Krishnam Samarpayami, Vishnum Samarpayami, the yajnas and samskaras, there also is offering to Vishnu. So his mind is completely absorbed in connection with the Lord. If we are working if we are doing our software job and if we are doing some other profession and all, that absorption may not be there in the Supreme Lord. Means we have to work, we can earn money and give that to the temple in service of the Lord. That is definitely good. Whereas if we need to go next steps, if we want to further advance, we need to create this ecosystem. This ecosystem where Brahmanas can be preserved over generations. And that is where our role is very important, that we need to create this society. So one practical solution is that our devotees have to take to process of samskaras very seriously. All these samskaras have to be religiously performed in our human society, and our devotees should be encouraged to do these things. So that way, by performance of the samskaras, the next generation progeny improves, and along with the not just the next generation progeny improves. Today, our brahmanas will get occupations in society. That way, they don't have to go to all these factories and other places to work. They can sustain on Brahmanism. They can sustain on Brahminical culture, and then there will be hope that they can put their children also in this. So just imagine if our devotees are engaged in this type of professions, deity worship in temple, and then Brahminical professions. That's what we want. So why should we not want this for our own children? If we create this ecosystem where generations together, the same thing can be there, it will really help actually. That way, uh, we will not be dependent so much on the Shudra occupation, so much on the paycheck, and so much on all these things for sustenance. And then one more thing, the big task of giving up this attachment to family life, giving up attachment to what is mine and all becomes very easy. Because right from the beginning, we are in that culture of God consciousness. Everything is for God. Every day when you are doing Samarpanam, Krishna Pranamastu, and all these things, so that naturally gives the samskara that it is easy to give up. So, on one hand, everyone has an opportunity to become Brahmana. By Diksha, by connecting with the Guru, by connecting with the Vaishnava Guru, everyone has opportunity to become Brahmana. So at the same time, those who get this, they should preserve it. There is this story of a sadhu to whom a rat comes. A mouse comes near a sadhu and says, I am very much afraid of cats. Please help me. So the sadhu blesses and a rat becomes a cat. Few days later, the cat comes and he says, oh, I am very much afraid of dogs. Kindly help me. He blesses and the cat becomes a dog. Few days later, the dog comes. Oh, please, I am very much afraid of lions. Lions are troubling me. So he blesses. Okay, become a lion, and he becomes a lion. Now, the lion starts thinking, oh, I am hungry. I have to eat this sadhu. And as he starts meditating, he starts making the plan. The sadhu understands this. Then, as he understands, he says, Punar Mushika Bhava, again become a mouse. So he again became a mouse. So we are like that. By the association of a Vaishnava Guru, we can become from a cat to a dog to a tiger. Once we become a tiger, if we don't maintain the discipline of the tiger and don't respect the Guru, if we don't, getting the Brahmanism and Vaishnavism, if there is a need that we respect the Vaishnava Guru and follow the instructions, maintain this Brahmanism, take up seriously to maintain this Brahminical culture over generations. Now, if we don't do it, then we will become Punarmoshika Bhava, like the Brahmanas of the caste. The caste Brahmanas, they are all losing their culture gradually because they are not taking up this samskara seriously, purification seriously. So, for us, it will be more so because the all the devotees may not be having this high birth or the genes of the high birth. So, the conditioning may be more strong. So if the samskaras are not maintained, it will be even more difficult to maintain that. So one thing is getting qualification for getting everyone can do. Where it's there is no this caste brahmana argument is wrong. However, after getting this, the opportunity should not be missed. They have to keep it strong and they have to preserve it over generations. So these were the few points that I could grasp from the lecture, from the verse that I could see. If you all like to contribute something, then please let me know. If you can ask questions, that will be
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you so much for wonderful class. And I mean, maybe a few points that I had noted, just in case you summarize.
Yes.
Definitely, he said from Srila Prabhupada, as he mentioned, even a Chandala can be purified just by the Mahamantra. And then you actually glorify the importance of Mahamantra, how Mahamantra can purify one, how we can come to the level of renunciation, which is very important. And then samskaras, the most important part, which you also mentioned, which was very prominent, was the samskaras, how important samskaras are. I just note a few 4 points that you mentioned at the end, Prabhuji, was the samskaras help a legacy that can continue. That is one. Second is a Brahmanical profession can sustain, which is actually declining and degrading. Then you said because of that, what will happen is focus and move away from the Shudra jobs that people are readily accepting, which is very prominent also now. And the most important point which I said was the Lord would be in the center, because all the Brahminical acts make everyone by default ensure that Lord is the center. And just because of that, when Lord is the center, renunciation is very easy. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And you also said all are qualified. It's just that we have to take that up the process, Prabhuji. So wonderful. I just open up the lines for devotees and they can ask questions. They can unmute. Yes. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to unmute themselves if anybody has a question.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Such a wonderful class. I really liked so many points in this, Prabhu. I had so much of doubts because last time when I was talking to a non-devotee, so they were telling, Hare Krishna people, you are just mind washing and whatever samskaras are there, you people are not doing. I said, no, it is not like that. We have to do, it is told in the Shastras also. So they said, we have seen all ISKCON people, they are not celebrating any festivals. Only thing is Janmashtami and other big festivals, they'll go to the temple and come. And what you people are following? So I was really don't know what to answer, Prabhu. I just kept quiet. But today I was quite satisfied, Prabhu. You said all the samskaras we have to follow. Then we can tell, yeah, Namkarana samskara we have done, Srimata samskara we have done. All these big samskaras are, which is very, very important in the life. So which is mentioned in the Shastras, that we are carrying on. And one more important point, what I like to what you have told, Prabhuji, is yes, we all like to be brahmanas, but we will never encourage our children to become a pujari or to follow any samskaras like this. We will tell, oh, so they are grown up, they will not listen to us. They are working in IT companies, they will get up very late. But what to do, Prabhu? They are already grown up, they will not listen to us. Then in that case, how to encourage them, Prabhuji?
Sorry, I was mute. Thanks, Mataji, for the question. So, Mataji said that once the children are grown up, how can we encourage? Yes. So, that is the challenge with grown up children, that once they grow up, they will get samskaras from everywhere. They get the impressions from everywhere, and it's difficult to change. So, Mataji, I'll slightly shift from your question to youngsters, those who already have small children. At least they should not miss the opportunity. They should understand that once the children are 15, 20 years old, they are not going to listen to us. Of course, it might have happened to us also. Sometimes some of us parents might have told this Hare Krishna and all, don't go here and all, and we did not listen to them. So what is the guarantee that if we tell go to Hare Krishna, they will listen? They will have their freedom. So those who are having very small children, this is the right time that they can get fully into it and completely train their children, because once they grow up, they are not going to listen. And regards to your question, Mataji, that once they are grown up, how we can do? So one thing, Mataji, with children, we cannot force things on them. There should be preaching. Just like a new devotee is there, a new person, our neighbor is there. So whenever a neighbor is there, we preach to them. We tell them, oh, this Hare Krishna is nice, Krishna Bhakti is nice, come to temple, have some prasadam. Then gradually, when their hearts change based on Krishna's mercy on them, they will be able to pick up. Yesham Twantagatam Papam Jananam Punya. The amount of sins that are erased, based on that, they will be able to pick up. So that seems to be the only way with children also, once they are grown up. We can try to preach to them as much possible. We can give them some prasadam. And then gradually, if their hearts are really changing, then it can happen. However, there is one hope, Mataji, that I can see. You see, these caste brahmanas and all, whatever happens, they are pakka in their Sandhya Vandana, they are pakka in their worship, because they say, my father was doing, I have to continue. So that affection for parents is there. We can capitalize on that. If we have this proper system of Brahminical culture at home, then seeing that, at least children will say, oh, my parents were doing this, I should continue that. That hope may be there. Now, if son may not do, later on when the daughter-in-law comes, she will see, oh, this is the parampara in this family, I have to adhere to that. We never know. So a lot of these cultures may be preserved through this. So one thing is that try to preach to the children. And second thing is, if we keep the culture at home, then at least out of family affection, something they may be able to do. That is where your point of Mataji, so many festivals and all. Eventually, we should have so many festivals even at home also. So if we have so many festivals at home, for example, in Shravana, they would naturally clean the house during Shravana to make ready for further festivals. So like that, all these cultures, if we introduce, that will make it easy, is what I feel.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's really your whatever the instruction you're given is really inspiring and very satisfied with your answer, Prabhu. And so much hopes I can see. Yes, Prabhu. Even myself, I will try for with my children, just trying to be an example for them. Yeah, I have a hope that in future, when a son-in-law comes or a daughter-in-law comes, definitely they will see our whatever samskara we are doing, and they will definitely take it up. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhuji,
In the chat, there is one question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Shall I
read
answer
out,
that?
Prabhuji? Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Shall
yes.
I read out the question, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
The first one was, why Shukracharya considered himself as Brahmana? He was Guru of the Rakshasas, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yes. So, Shukracharya, see, one thing you should understand, that Brahmanism is a profession. Brahmanatva is a profession where these qualities of Samo, Damo, Tapas, Shaucham, Shanti, Rajavimavacha, Dhyanam, Vidyanam, Astikam, Brahmakaramsam, where they have knowledge, where they have purity, where they have sincerity. However, that doesn't mean pure Vaishnava. Pure Vaishnava, even if he is a Shudra, is superior to Brahmana. But Brahmanatva can be with that purity. So can be with that, what is that, cleanliness and all, following the rules and knowledge of Shastra and all. So Shukracharya was like that. He was guiding the he was guiding the Rakshasas. And he was a Brahmana. Of course, it is necessary to guide Rakshasas also. Now, otherwise Rakshasas will be misled. So he was guiding the Rakshasas into more of material comforts and all. That is why he was there. But still, he was a Brahmana because of his birth. Because birth and some of his nature also. Yes, Prabhu.
I hope it was answered the devotee would ask. Yeah, second is, Hare Krishna, we have to create only Brahmana culture. What about the three Varnas engaged?
Yeah, nice question. Actually, in Chatur Varnam Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhag Sha, Yasya Kartaram Apimam, Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. Is Avyayam means everywhere the system is there. The Varnas that are there, they are there all over the world. So even you go to USA, there is somebody who cleans the toilets, there is somebody who cleans the roads, there is somebody who is a businessman, there is somebody who is in the government, military men are there. Then there are the intellectuals who are guiding these ministers. They have this IAS officers and all those things. All over, this whole system is there all over the world. We cannot abolish it because it's a system given by God. There was one person who challenged me that this Manu, he is the biggest cause of problems in human society because he has created this Chatur Varna. So I asked him, can you tell me one place in the world where these Varnas don't exist? So everywhere these differences exist. Now, what we have to do is we have to give the samskara, we have to add the culture to that. So there is an intellectual IAS officer or a scientist. Because of lack of God conscious culture, he is misguiding the society into making atom bombs and all these things. If you give him the culture of Krishna consciousness, he will use the same intelligence for helping in Krishna consciousness. Now there is a minister or there is a king or there is a military ruler. Now he is doing this just to attack the country and destroy it so that I will get some oil fields from that country or I will get some resources from the country. Now you give him the samskaras, that way he will become devotee. Then he will start meditating on how everyone will become devotee, how I can make rules and regulations that everyone becomes devotee. So gradually by establishing Brahminical culture. Chanakya established Brahminical culture, and then he prepared a disciple Chandragupta. That way the atrocities of the Nanda dynasty were able to end. So gradually, if we want these Varanas to be stabilized, first Brahmanas should be established. So for Brahmanas, these 16 samskaras are essential. So if we can establish within ISKCON society the 16 samskaras, the process of reading Prabhupada's books regularly, the culture of knowledge, if it comes, other things will gradually automatically follow.
Thank you. I hope it was answered to the devotee you asked. There is a comment. Is Krishna Prabhu Dandatpranam? Thanks for the wonderful class. And there's another comment. I'm not sure whether there's a comment, question, or a complaint, but it says, "Not children, even husband also, Prabhuji, they don't listen to us." any thoughts on that, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So one thing we should understand that when we join ISKCON, we will have a particular routine, a particular lifestyle, so many chanting of so many rounds and dedicating for this mission and all. However, if you see in society, everyone may not be on the same level. Krishna gives Karma Yoga, Krishna gives Dhyana Yoga, Krishna gives Ashtanga Yoga, because he understands that everyone will not be on that level. It requires great faith to strong on that level. So, actually speaking, chant Hare Krishna. What is the difficulty? But then people don't have that faith that chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be taken care of. We find so many times people argue, by Hare Rama Hare Krishna, will your stomach be full? Now, Mrigari did not have this doubt. When Narad Muni said, sit and chant Hare Krishna, Mrigari did not get this doubt. He had that strong faith. No, my Guru Maharaj said, chant Hare Krishna, food will come, and food came. Whereas for those who don't have this faith, other processes are there. So yeah, if they are not ready for the highest level, at least they can be supportive at home for Krishna consciousness. So that way, once in a while, come to temple. Now, anyway, husband and wife go here and there, but then why not? Definitely, they will accompany to temple. So that way, some level, they will be somewhere absorbed in the society.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Any other questions, inputs, thoughts, or comments from devotees on time? Okay, Prabhuji, I don't see any further questions. Shall we end the class here, Prabhuji? Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We look forward to hear from you often. We'll end with Vaishnav Pranams. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. I'll end the session here.